been reconnected, so we're going to do this as part 2 over here. So we spoke about Menasseh Meyer, the famous philanthropist over here, and he, 5th of Tammuz, Marcus Silula. He was born, just to recap, in the year 1846, passed away in 1930, was an activist, a very big philanthropist, a businessman. Let's see about the Judaism and Zionism connection over here. We said that he was born in Baghdad and was part of, let's say, the trade network of Baghdadi Jews in Asia. He united language, family, trade, and faith, and had huge ties to the Middle East. Remember, he was very much an integral part of Singapore. We mentioned about how his spiritual leader was Rabbi Yosef Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai, Chacham Yosef Chaim, and he was very much inspired by him. And Rabbi Yosef Chaim really supported the Jewish community at the time in the Palestine at that point in time. So he himself became a committed Zionist because of that. He would become, during his lifetime, the proto-Zionism of the Baghdad religious establishment, and the Ben Ish Chai was transferred into active support for, let's say, the Zionism movement in some degrees, founded by Theodor Herzl. Now, I think in 1900, he would travel to Jerusalem with his daughters to inculcate them with a love for Zion. In 1922, Mr. Meyer became the founding president of the Singapore Zionistic Organization. His home was known as a beehive of Zionist activity in Asia. In 1922, it's reported over he would host Albert Einstein as he traveled through the Baghdadi Jewish communities of Asia seeking financial support for the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, comparing him, let's say, to Croesus, the ancient Greek ruler renowned for his wealth. Einstein described Meyer as such. This is terminology. Croesus is still a slender, upright 80-year-old man with a strong will, a small grey pointed beard, a thick reddish face, a narrow Jewish bent nose, clever, somewhat shrewd eyes, a small black cap on a well-arched forehead. Now, Sir Meyer was to be one of Hebrew University's major donors. He also supported a school and a synagogue for the Baghdadi Jews in Palestine. A rabbi from Palestine would officiate to mark his funeral at the Chesed El synagogues. Now, legacy. He was survived by 3 sons. Twins are Isaac and Jacob, and Reuben, and 4 daughters, Hannah, Rama, Rachel, and Moselle. After his death, Meyer's daughter, Moselle Nissim, sponsored the creation of a school at Kfar Vitkin in the Mandatory Palestine. Now, his legacy can still be felt, especially in Singapore. The 2 synagogues continue to operate, providing us a cornerstone of a thriving community. Meanwhile, Jewish educational institutions bearing his name still function. The Sir Menasseh Meyer International School, originally named the Ganiot Learning Center, was renamed in his honor in the year 2008. It's a Jewish day school that caters to children from 18 months to grade 7. Now, Menasseh Meyer building over here, which was constructed by Meyer in the 1920s, is currently part of the National University of Singapore's Bukit Timah campus. The building was, let's say, gazetted as a national monument on 11th of November in the year 2009. And what's interesting also about him, there was a famous synagogue called the Shoshanim LeDavid synagogue. This happens to be a synagogue, I think, representing the Iraqi community in the Beit Yisrael neighborhood in Jerusalem. And what's significant about it, it would very much be part of it, how actually the synagogue was founded, I think, in the first decade of the 20th century, just a bit of history with regards to it, by Rabbi, I think between 1914 to 1919, by the Kaf HaChaim, Rabbi Yaakov Chaim Sofer, it was founded by, and I think also his friend Rabbi Yechaskel Ezra Halevi, who immigrated from Iraq at, let's say, at that point in time, and Rabbi Yechaskel Ezra Rachamim and Rabbi David Chaim Yosef Nissim Samrotik, if I'm not mistaken, who happened to be the brother of Rabbi Yosef Chaim of Baghdad. They would be together very much in establishing this synagogue in the Beit Yisrael neighborhood. It was an operating synagogue, let's just say. It was a Talmudic center. It became known as one of the first Talmud Torahs at that stage in time. I think it would be named the Bnei Tzion at one stage in time, a famous school I think we've spoken about in this series before. He would teach in, so what's interesting, very much the Kaf Chaim would speak inside the synagogue, obviously being one of the founders of it. Also other people, yeshiva administrators of the early year of this one was Rabbi Yoshua Shurabani, and Rabbi Ben Sion Hazan. Very interesting. They were also very much connected with Yeshivat Porat Yosef. And what's interesting is this awesome, let's say, institution was that was maintained by Menasseh Meyer, the famous philanthropist over here. And I think he had the connection with the Ben Ish Chai, and it would be the Ben Ish Chai that will actually ask him to actually very much be part of it. And really, he did a huge amount for the Babylonian community. Now, it's reported that at one stage, the ceiling of the synagogue collapsed, and because it was an earthquake that struck the Jerusalem area. I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, this would have been on the date February 28th, 1928. This occurred over here. Maybe we mentioned about this incident that actually took place, and that point in time there was many great people connected to let's just say the institution in of itself. And Rabbi Ovadia Yosef at that point in time was a child. He studied, I think, in the building, and after this earthquake actually occurred, the building once again was restored by Sir Menasseh Meyer. So you can see the great works that he did all throughout the time. He was one of the great philanthropists, without doubt, of the Sephardi community in recent history. He was a famous man. He was a brilliant man of his time. One that really, there's a lot written about him in various different articles, which I recommend everyone to look at with regards to Sir Menasseh Meyer. There's some classic ones, especially newspaper articles, especially when he was young, speaking about his life, how he started up the business, which we spoke about, how he was a municipal commissioner, and trust funds were put in. I think there was Sir Menasseh Meyer Trust Fund, which benefited many people. He would be knighted in the year 1929, as we stated on the onset. I think his first wife, his name was Mrs. Khatun, if I'm not mistaken. His second wife was Rebecca, and so that's very interesting. So I recommend everyone to learn more within regards to him. And there's actually an article which you can find, I think that dates back to 1930, 1st of July, when he passed away, where in the newspaper it says, Sir M. Meyer dies at the age of 84 because of a brief illness. And it will actually state some information you can see and talk about his career inside this newspaper article. I'm not too sure where he did it. It states over in here, he learned in a school with 25 pupils. I'm not sure if that was in his class or not. How he was involved with with the government, in how he built blocks of flats in Singapore. This article is talking about, especially the Delphi Hotel, Raffles Place, Collier Quay area, and the gifts he gave to the various different colleges, amounts of money. Apparently during the war, the First World War, he gave $20,000 for an aeroplane even. So he was really doing much. He was huge, reliable service he did all throughout the various places, how well traveled he happened to have been, and was one of the famous philanthropists of his time. So Menasseh Meyer. So please, the 5th of Tammuz marked his Hilula. Learn more about him. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about famous rabbis of yesteryear, famous philanthropists also inside the series, trying to get the science behind what occurred in all the Sephardic countries, especially during the last few hundred years. Very phenomenal. Sir Menasseh Meyer. And learn more about him. Maybe we'll do a video on the famous Shoshanim LeDavid synagogue also at one time. Subscribe to the channel, near 7,000 subscribers. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, share these videos also to other people. Wishing you well here from the city of Bet Shemesh. Take care and thanks for watching.